Welcome back everyone. Today we will be discussing the Jordan 5 Raging Bull, once again also known as Jordan 5 Toro Bravo. Specifically, we will be discussing whether you should sell or hold the Jordan 5 Raging Bull and why that is. To preface this, if you guys enjoy these types of videos regarding the market, reselling, and even info on how to acquire these limited products, be sure to subscribe and enable post notifications just so you're always 100% updated. Furthermore, for more urgent updates like shock drops, such as the one we just saw for the Carmines or even the exclusive access today, follow my Twitter, KeithAdam10, and also personals for you. This way, you're always in the loop 24/7 whenever there is a restock or a drop. For those who don't know, the Jordan 5 Raging Bull releases on April 10th, so not too far away. Retail will be $190 for men, $140 for grade school, $80 for preschool, and $60 for toddler, but we'll just be focusing on the men's sizes today. Be sure to watch my Head of Cop video if you have not yet, and you happen to be watching this before the drop. Otherwise, let's continue. In order to determine if the Jordan 5 Raging Bull will be a fruitful hold, we will cover an estimated range of what the sneaker will settle at after the drop, as well as when shipments come in, essentially the pairs going into circulation, whether they're expected to increase post-drop or even hypothetically decrease, along with how much specifically over specific periods of time, and finally, what type of margin are we looking at for these in terms of holding, not the retail to resell initial margin, but rather just a hold margin over X period of time. Basically, are these going to be worth your time, even if they do go up? Kicking it off, let's discuss the estimated range that these should be settling at. To begin with, stock for all sizes combined worldwide is over 140,000 pairs. This is more than what we normally see on a lot of Jordan 5s, but it also won't be super easy to cop these anyway, considering this vast amount of demand for these. With that said, the demand on these is very high. These are a classic, iconic retro that we have not seen since 2009. The bids are very, very healthy, as well as the sale volume, which certainly reflects this. Therefore, as discussed in the Head of Cop video, I'm personally going to be going for these with a focus on the larger sizes. I do believe I can make easy small profit off these with a decent margin as well. Nothing too crazy, it's not going to be the best profit, but this profit really does add up because it's the type of drop that you could definitely get multiple pairs of, especially if you're bodying. Now, regarding a specific range, prices have been declining over the past week, which is completely normal since people are just unloading their early pairs, especially with the early access drop that happened just recently. Since we're just about a day out from the drop, I don't think there's too much more room to drop. As a conservative estimate though, we will subtract an additional 3% of the current average prices for the average pre-drop prices right before 10 a.m. Eastern Time, since that is about the rate of decrease that we've been seeing. This should leave prices on average at about $318 for men's sizes right before the US drop. However, keep in mind that since this is the average, some sizes will be less, of course, some sizes will be more. In fact, some of the sizes under 10 are already lower than this, some of which are already in the 290 range. We normally see a notable change post-US drop. This is when we normally experience what I like to refer to as the impulsivity effect. You guys should know what I'm referring to by now, as I always discuss this in these types of videos. Regarding the impulsivity effect, if you haven't watched my recent videos though, sneaker drops specifically impact human impulsiveness significantly after an individual fails to acquire that desired products due to insufficient supply and too much demand. Therefore, on average, we normally see about a 10% increase of the pre-drop prices post-drop. This isn't always the case, majority of the time it is, but this is one of the few cases to which I'm not exactly expecting the impulsivity effect, at least not a significant impulsivity effect. I'm not suggesting that they'll exactly go down after they sell out, but I'm not expecting a notable increase. If these saw that 10% increase, they would sit at around $350 on average, which means some of them would be even more than that, and I'm highly skeptical of seeing that. If we do, all the better, of course. I mean, this is just a discussion at the end of the day. That would be fantastic to see prices like that. Obviously, we'd make a lot more money, but unfortunately, that's not exactly what I'm expecting. I really don't think we'll be seeing that much of an impulsivity effect at all. If anything, maybe 1 or 2%. So even after the drop, I'd still expect them to be in that 318 range. Some sizes will be in the high 200, while others may be closer to the mid 300s. Again, bigger sizes should be the best. Keep this number in mind because we'll be revisiting this number when discussing what are the most optimal times to sell at. Keep in mind, these will just be the post-drop prices for a finite period of time. This is going to change, and let's discuss how that's actually going to change now. now. So now let's discuss what price it will look like when shipments go out in that 1 to 2 week range. During this period, the vast majority of pairs will be going into circulation, aside from the few amount of early pairs that already went into circulation, especially through the exclusive access and in-store pairs as well. When it comes to these decent sized releases though with pretty large stock, the effects are normally very noticeable, often up into the 15% range. They already dropped a notable amount following the exclusive access pairs, so I wouldn't give these the full 15%, but due to the high stock and already relatively high prices, I'd side towards the 13% range. This could leave post-shipment prices at around $275 to $280 in about 2 weeks or so. Therefore, I'd still expect some larger sizes to come close to touching 300 and some of the smaller ones under 275. Either way, that is still a solid profit. That's a decent margin with or without tax in my eyes. Again, that small profit, it goes a long way when you get multiple pairs of these. I'm going full throttle on these without a doubt. But now that the average price ranges at those points in time are evident, let's discuss whether they're expected to increase post-drop or even hypothetically decrease, along with how much specifically over specific periods of time. When it comes to Jordan 5s in general, it is certainly not common that we see a notable increase over time. While some certainly do increase, it's by far not the most notable amount, especially for how long it often takes them. I do understand that these are iconic, these are classics with insane demand that we have not seen since 2009. However, I do feel that these current prices already justify that, which makes it more difficult for these to continue increasing. Short term, I see these plateauing, not exactly decreasing past that post-shipment range I did mention, but I'm not expecting a notable increase over the next few months. Long term, I'm confident that these will eventually definitely increase, yes. However, whether it's actually worth your time is what we'll be discussing next. I'm expecting a very similar situation for these as what we saw on the Carmines proportionally, as I did predict initially. I still feel that these 5s will be going for more, of course. I'm just saying that this is what I'm expecting proportionally. Regardless, I do believe they will increase long term, just not by a notable amount and not for at least a few months. Finally, regarding the hold margin on these, essentially the price you could have gotten versus the price in say 12 to 14 months or even more than now, aka are these actually worth your time? Although these are iconic classics, as I already have been stressing, I do feel that this is already justified by their current price, as I did already mention. This makes it very difficult to make a solid return on investment, considering you can already get over 300 for some sizes if you sell these as soon as possible. Again, I do feel that they will eventually increase long term, yes, but not by too notable of an amount compared to what they're at now. For example, another classic Jordan 5 was the black metallic 5s. Those even had the Nike Air on the back too. I understand this pair is definitely not as hyped, but it's been around 5 whole years since these dropped, and they're only around the low to mid 400 range. Considering these Raging Bulls are already close to that range, that peak that these metallic 5s are at, it really doesn't leave too much room for potential for them to keep growing by a notable amount at least. So even when they do end up increasing long term, I just can't see the margin being very good. Because of this, I'm going to rate this a 4 out of 10 hold. There are definitely worse holds out there, and I do believe that these will eventually increase, yes, but I do definitely expect this to be a below average hold. Overall, I will be quick selling all of my pairs other than my personal pair. I do believe there are much better places to put my money in rather than these Raging Bull Jordan 5s. Also, just a note in general, for anyone considering holding any items who do have low capital, you should never hold anything in general if you don't have sufficient capital to go for as many drops as possible at your very most full potential without holding back. If you need money to go for all drops, try to sell these or any sneakers as soon as possible. I'll be quick selling these. Let me know what you guys are doing with your pairs though in the comments below, because again, this is just a discussion at the end of the day where we all do share our notions. Anyway, good luck on this drop, or congrats if you already did cop these. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed, or you perhaps learned a thing or two. Subscribe and enable post notifications just to stay 100% updated on all hyped sneakers. Remember, if you guys need proxies or Nike sneakers accounts, be sure to check the links in the description below for TARS and Kip proxies. And of course, follow my Twitter, KeithAdam10, and personals for you, so you always stay 100% updated on all hyped releases. With that though, I'll see you guys later. Have a fantastic rest of your day.